And the cattle manure is actually mixed with hay, of course. Yeah, so there's a lot of hay in the cattle manure too. And that is the one source of weed seed. You know, all these other materials are essentially weed-free. So the cattle manure with the hay in particular does present some weeds coming in. However, you will note, you know, like this pile here was assembled, you guys are standing right, this pile was assembled in like March, and that is the level of weed growth, you know, that came out of a cattle manure assembled, you know, mixed pile. So it's not a tremendous amount of weeds, but there are some weeds that come through the composting system. So, but yes, we try to keep that as clean as possible in terms of weeds, and they cook at a low temperature. Like the cattle manure, when it's sitting on the pads, can get hot. You know, sometimes we'll bring it in, it'll be 150 degrees or something, the cattle manure mixed with hay, you know. But generally, once we added all these high carbon materials, it brings the temperature down to 120 to 130, and we kind of cook it at 120 to 130, which is where we're trying to encourage all the fungal activity for more fungal activity in the field. So this is a high fungal compost because of the high carbon material. And that is, but in our particular condition, it's because the field is so rich in nitrogen and bacteria that we're seeking to dilute the effect of nitrogen and bacterial activity in the field. You all might be in a different condition. So, but that is what we're doing, and that is what you're going to see here as we get out there and look at things. So the pile, so this one was assembled in March, or maybe April, March, April, somewhere in there. And it was just assembled and mixed as we assembled it. We add some minerals at that point, including gypsum, which is calcium sulfate, and talc, which is magnesium silicate. And so we bump up the magnesium and calcium and silica content of the compost piles, also sulfur, using those materials in a pretty good portion. Like this pile here will receive probably on the order of about 500 pounds of gypsum, well, maybe 300 pounds of gypsum and 500 pounds of talc in a pile right here this size. So there's a reasonably high level of gypsum and talc usage. And then also we put a good amount of sea salt into the piles as well, is the other main amendment that is purchased in. I have the recipe in the garage. Maybe 100 pounds of C90 sea salt goes into that pile. Sometimes if we can pump enough or get enough seawater, we'll substitute seawater, but generally we purchase in an agricultural seawater, sea salt, and apply that to the pile for trace mineral content as well. And then along with that go in the trace minerals like boron. A particular trace mineral that gets utilized here that the field is very deficient in, and lots of Connecticut is deficient in, molybdenum. So a pile this big will get 5 or 10 pounds of sodium molybdate into it as well, which is rather expensive. You know, that stuff is like $20 a pound. And if you look at the whole molybdenum budget over the last few years, it's, you know, $500 on molybdenum, things like that. But it has definitely increased the molybdenum in the tissue analysis in the field. So I'll wait to talk about soil and tissue analysis till we're actually out in the field looking at things. I'll just finish talking about compost here. We liquefy, when we're mixing the materials, we also liquefy the boron, which is a really small amount, but we do put sodium borate into, and sometimes a sea salt as well. So sea salt really, a lot of these things in warm water really liquefy well. So we'll have just a little, we have a little sump pump electric in 55-gallon drums, and one fellow will have the liquid amendment spraying. Another person will have the dry materials, tossing dry gypsum or talc into the pile, and another person will be mixing with the loader tractor. So it's a dry liquid loader mixing all at once.